We are live.
Hey,
Robin, how are you, buddy?
Good to see you again.
You too, buddy. Back live. I feel like I've just been here trapped in the studio for almost a month now. How about you?
It's amazing how time flies, and unfortunately, we're probably going to end up talking about the same thing that everybody else is talking about: working from home and viruses and how it affects our lives. And we might hear our wives and kids stomping around in the background and stuff.
Stomping around, screaming around, whatever. I had one person, and they're like, "Oh my God, is everybody okay there?" I'm like, "Yes, we just talked to each other very loud." Anyways,
yeah.
Instead of keeping our guy in the wings here, I'm going to bring in Arnulfo Hernandez. And do you want me to just pop him right in right now?
Yeah, let's bring him on.
Cool. Noof, you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I saw a video of yours that you posted on the YouTube the federal YouTube channel, I think, around VPN stuff and multi-factor authentication and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did. That was, I believe, last week. I got that posted. It's been shared across a number of channels. The federal channel, I believe, even the great Peter Silva has chopped up my video and posted it up on Dev Central as well. So. Yeah, we've gotten some coverage with that video. So
yeah,
Peter Silva is like F5 celebrity. We all know that, right?
Yeah, so many of us associate the kinds of things we're doing now. Like we draw a line back to him. Wonder if his ears are ringing. We all tend to talk to him talk about him in one way or another.
Yeah, it's either Peter or John or Wagnon or Ram. Those guys are celebrities. So. Way before when I first started with F5, watching their videos, their lightboard sessions, those guys are awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And they, when I go to like Agility and places like that, and they are also there, and customers are there, they get a little starstruck. It's like, oh my God, there's the guy at the lightboards.
I'm not gonna lie, this is a few Agilities back. And it was the first time I actually got to meet all of them all together. And I was like a starstruck kid. I was like, oh my God, you have your guys. Blah, blah, blah. It was embarrassing after the fact, but I know exactly what you mean. Hey, they're celebrities, and you go to them to watch your videos, learn how to do stuff on the F5 that, it's helpful. It's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I never thought that the things that I had a lot of respect for them and what they do and what they're good at would be a skill that I start to learn how to do. But this transformation of everybody working at home, suddenly everybody's got a camera and we're all talking to the camera and talking to each other. And now all of the things that I saw, Peter Silva and all of my so-called heroes demonstrating over the years are things that now I'm like, okay, how does Peter do that? It's like, I should probably look at the camera more and smile more. And
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, this whole, I've been working remote in some capacity for probably the last 10 years. So the whole remote thing is not new to me. Having to deal with, not going into office every day. It was already used to all of that. But transitioning from, traveling and going to meetings with customers to now doing them online and having, somewhat professional area to do that and then producing content, that's something brand new. And I do have a lot of respect for those guys at Dev Central who've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what.
I have a question. So, like, you're not new to doing these videos. You have a bunch of videos.
No, I don't. I do not have a bunch. That VPN video is the first one I actually posted. Unless, somebody's doing something with my name.
Dev Central's doing it. Like, there's a bunch of videos. I'm like, wait a minute. There's part 1, part 5.
Yeah. So that was the Peter Silva. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to get your video posted." They did whatever they did. They did some magic, some editing, and they cut into bite-sized chunks to make it a little bit easier to consume for whoever wanted to view it. So
yeah. I think your original video was like 20 or 30 minutes. How long was it?
I believe it's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that 30 minutes beginning to end.
The most amazing, I saw that and I watched the whole thing, and I don't think most people look at a video like that and realize how difficult it is to just speak continuously for 30 minutes. That's what really struck me as something that was a unique skill that you had, is like the ability to just keep a train of thought going so consistently without ums and ahs and like backtracking and like.
Yeah, so we've talked about that a little bit already, and I didn't really think about any of that when I was doing the recording the presentation in the video, the demo and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I of course, that wasn't like one take, one time. I had a few tries, right? I had background noise and my dog's barking, and listen, this is my first time, right? So a lot of this stuff, this technology is new and a learning curve. So I didn't want to go in and do a lot of editing, and because I'm using iMovie, right? So it's a whole nother learning curve. I got other things I got to do. So I said, let me prepare, let me script the first bit, and then at least know what I'm doing on the second bit, and then I can remember to close it on the last bit. So that all actually flowed pretty well, I think, and I was able to really do it on one take without having any real issues. So I think I got lucky.
You're okay, man.
Yeah.
Well, see, I feel like, I don't know, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like we do the live videos, so we don't have to worry about editing and all that kind of stuff. We just like embrace the wabi-sabi. Is that what you call that? The chaos?
Yeah.
Chaos.
It makes it a lot easier because you don't have to, there's no post-processing, and that can probably be like there's no end to, making something perfect, right? With being live, you warts and all, and your train wreck. I mean, it's also part of the charm,
right?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
We've got a comment from Boo here.
Wash hands.
Good advice.
I'm not going to show my hands. Sorry.
You're not going to show?
No.
So I have a couple questions though for you, Arnulfo, about the video. Obviously, you're prompted because of the serious demand for people working at home. I'm an SE. I sell these products, and I can't tell you how busy I was. My phone is ringing off the hook, trying to help people get licenses and getting up and running. But there's all sorts of other things that go along with remote working, such as two-factor authentication. And a lot of my customers, even though they had SSL VPN, they didn't have enough licenses and they didn't have two-factor authentication. So there was a whole bunch of other things that they had to kind of bolt on to their remote solution. You talked a little bit about that in your video, but have you seen like a huge uptick in multi-factor authentication and general kind of like connectivity security? And
so definitely an uptick in just general remote access solutions, right? So as you allude to, you're very busy. I too have been extremely busy last week and the week before, and even now. So I have a customer. I work in the federal division. So the federal division, specifically my customer, is scrambling to ramp up to get their users remote access. And we're kind of lucky in that we already kind of have a two-factor already built in. They use common access cards or certificate, a CAC card, right? So we do have some, I guess you would call that a two-factor mechanism, but for commercial, maybe they don't, right? Maybe they don't. They just have a username and password. They're authenticating against an Active Directory or an LDAP. And then so for those users, I talked about Duo Security, and Duo Security is a two-factor mechanism that's pretty easy to deploy. Works really well with Big IP. In fact, here at F5, we use Duo in-house for our own two-factor mechanism. It's a soft token that we put on our cell phone. And it works really well and integrates really well with Access Policy Manager, APM, that is a module on the Big IP. So in addition to Duo, you can layer on other two-factor mechanisms, right? So you can add in another layer. Maybe you have RSA tokens, right, in your enterprise. You don't want to get rid of that RSA token. You could also put that in line with your Duo security or with a certificate type mutual TLS authentication. So it's a lot of flexibility. It comes with the APM. That's what I love about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, actually, so one of the things that Robert and I use this for is to kind of improve our skills about how we're presenting and talking to people, and make sure we're making that eye contact and let you know that we're there with you no matter where we are. And I guess we started jumping into this just before, like in January, I think we started doing we did our first live one, and it was all in an exercise to be better at communicating with our customers from wherever we are, whenever we can do this, right? So one of the things I would want to say in your communication is I don't know how you do it, but you do a great job, and I'm challenged by this, how you communicate directly to the camera, and you look like you're making eye contact with me the whole time, and I'm there, and I'm looking at you, and you're looking at me, and I'm like, oh, he's really looking at me. I got it. I'm there.
Looking deep into our souls.
I'm looking through the camera lens into your soul. Exactly.
Yeah. You do such a great job at that. I'm like, and everyone is challenged by this. So we've all pretty much mastered line the camera up so it looks like you're not showing everybody up your nose. That's one thing I know I'm mastered at now because I used to do it all the time. But like that's one of the challenges. Like, how do I make sure that I'm talking to the people and not to my screen over here? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But yeah, you do a great job at that.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess that I don't know honestly how that came about. Like, I don't know. I look at the lens, and now I was telling Robin I just picked up a new little toy. Right, I bought a little 7-inch LCD monitor, and I've got it positioned just below the camera lens, like right here. So okay. I'll drag like my window over to that, and then I'm on a stand-up desk right now, right? So I've got to tweak it a little bit, but I can look right at the monitor. It's not on now because I was having problems with CPU, so I turned it off. But anyways, I'll have it right here, and I've tested it a few times, not live. Well, I tried to at Robin, it didn't work out well. But I can look at my screen, and that'll help me concentrate on the person who I'm talking to. And it looks like I'm looking directly into the lens, but I'm actually looking at the monitor. So that's something that helps. But like right now, I'm just looking at my lens, and I can see you guys on my peripheral. That's all I really need for me. I can talk to you and almost superimpose you a little bit onto my lens, and then I feel like I'm still talking to you.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's a good tip, actually.
Yeah. Robin has something similar, but he's using some witchery with a mirror.
Yeah, so a lot of us have been experimenting with repurposing teleprompters, which is a two-way mirror, and you put the camera behind the mirror, and then you can give the illusion that you're staring right at the camera when you. I mean, I don't have it on now, so you'll see my eyes darting around, but.
Yeah, no, it was cool when you showed me how you hooked that up. So I thought that was interesting.
I just moved my office into the basement, but. This is the contraption, and it's got the two-way mirror. I'll just kind of see if I can reflect it off the. See how well it reflects, but right behind this glass, I haven't got it mounted, but when I mount it up, there'll be a camera right behind the glass, and so I can put my zoom windows right on the teleprompter, and then actually feel like I'm connected with people and talking directly at them.
Oh wow! Actually, I've never seen you use that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Or maybe you fool me by like you just stare into my eyes.
although I did say talking directly at people. Hopefully, it's not talking at people. It's talking with people, right?
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes in sales, we get in the bad habit of like, making it a one-way conversation.
Yeah, I've seen that happen quite a bit.
Do you know what I find though that causes that? Like being in different roles on the sales side, where it's the sales rep or the engineer, or I'm the channel guy right now. Like having all those conversations about products that you're enthused about and excited about, it's sometimes hard not to do that. I don't know if I feel like you're excited about it, talking to these people. That's my perspective on it, and sometimes you get carried away with it.
Yeah, so I've fallen into that trap before. And I think I've learned. I try to learn. So when I came on F5, I honestly did not have. I wasn't a sales engineer before, so I didn't have all of that training, right? That you get
all the bad habits,
like in a boot camp, right? I'm sorry, Robin. What'd you say?
All the bad habits.
Yeah, bad habits, I guess, right? So I came in fresh, and I knew F5, and that's why F5 hired me, right? Because I knew F5 already. Oh, we can teach you the sales stuff. And I'm like, oh. So, going through that boot camp and then getting all that training and then putting it to use and practice, and then looking for cues from your audience, right? And I think that's been huge for me, like finding people looking at their phones or doing something else, looking at their laptops or falling asleep.
Yeah.
Had quite a few tech talks where guys in the back just showed up for the free lunch, right? And so you'll get that, but yeah, trying to, I'm excited about talking about APM or talking about SSLO or whatever it is. So sometimes, as engineers, we get all excited about the tech that we're trying to convey something to our customer, right? Maybe they're not so excited about that. Maybe they're excited about something else. Or maybe they want to really just listen to how this solves their business problem. And that's where we kind of need to craft things. So.
Yeah, totally. Getting that customer feedback is one of the tricks I would use, which then also for a lot of these times too, when you're sitting on these calls, like I don't know if you guys know this, but I think I'm pretty funny. And I feel like everybody that is listening to me thinks I'm funny. However, I can kind of eyeball people in a live audience and they'll laugh because they're like, oh my God, he's looking right at me. But in scenario, like, it's harder to look right at someone and everyone's muted, so you can't hear them or you can't anything. So I'm like, conference call humor is not something I'm especially wonderful at because I thrive on the feedback. So I'm looking at ways to kind of get that feedback as well too, and try out different things. So
yeah.
I would say another thing that helps with how we're doing this is I feel like even my social community outside of work is now like what do we do? Like, how do we see each other? How do we get together for a drink? I'm trying to look at ways to set up something for my buddies too. And I've been researching a bunch of different apps that we used to do a poker game. So we could sit and do a live meeting where we can all chirp each other as we would if we were sitting at the table together, and then remotely have that game going on some other app that we can kind of all participate in as well. So,
yeah. I mean, everyone's trying to be creative. That's why the Zoom stock is kind of really soared. I think it's taken a little bit of a dip in the past couple of days, but that's because it just skyrocketed, right? So there's some profit taking there, but yeah. So companies like Zoom are killing it, and people are just trying to be creative and still connect with their friends and everything. So it's tough, man. I mean, I've been in my home I think Florida finally, our governor here in Florida finally locked down the state. I think it's tonight at midnight, but our county locked it down like last week. And even before that, I was already at home. I haven't been, so I've probably been quarantined for almost a month now. And we've got another 30 days to go. So I'm usually a homebody anyways, but man, it's really starting to wear on me a little bit. So I just like to go down to my local pub and have a pint, and I can't even do that. Yeah. So it sucks.
Man, you are not alone. I am right there. I love being home. I love the idea of being here with my family. However, like, it's getting a little like I'm getting cabin fever.
Yeah, man.
I gotta find out ways to be social and connect with my friends and the people in the community that I haven't been in. Yeah, we're probably about a month in now too of not leaving the house or not leaving the vicinity.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Actually, another thing that I've been finding super interesting. Sorry, and this is like I'm on and on and on, but it's because I'm interested in all this stuff that's going on around. You brought up Zoom. Also, the hacker side of this is hackers are like, what's everybody using? And they're so on top of everything. I'm like, how could we harness these people to do business or sales? Like, they're on top of everything. Like, there's so many sites that are up now that are apparently hosting fake Zoom clients that are installing bots and malware on your computers. And then the other side of it too is there's also like the goodwill sites that are trying to help find cures and stuff. And they're saying, hey, come and download our client. We're going to use your computer processor to help us do our research. I'm like, God, you know what? I'm so uncomfortable by that because, like, is that a bot? Are they legit? Even though they're telling you exactly what they're going to do, are they also going to mine Bitcoin?
Right. Yeah.
How do you know? So I'm doing a little research on my own about like finding out, like, what do I do? Do I profile the people who are hosting this, or try to find if I can profile those people, or is there open source actually open source? Like, you guys are smarter at this than I am, I think. So I'm like, if there's any advice, like, what do we tell people, or what should we do?
I wouldn't put anything on my computer that if I don't have to. So putting like a third-party plugin personally to mine something, even if it's for a cause, I'd be very skeptical before putting any of that on my machine. That's just me. But you know, I honestly, as a security guy myself, like on my local machine, I don't run any antivirus on my machine. I have Windows Firewall. I don't put like Norton on there or anything like that because I have good. I think I have good internet hygiene, right? I'm not clicking on weird links and open up emails, you know. So I'm, for the most part, I think I'm good. And plus, I run like a old. I don't know if you guys know Spybot. Was it Spybot and Destroy or something like that? I can't even remember the name of it, but this is like a decade ago, right? So it would go out and clean up all your, if you had any helper objects or any, you know, Trojans or spyware, it goes and still works really well today. And I use it just to clean things up, and it never really finds anything. So I know I went kind of a little tangent there, but Robin, got any advice?
Well, you know, I guess I saw an interesting post from our friend Bill Church, and he said that a bad carpenter will blame his tools for his mistakes. And I think there's a lot of truth in that here, where, I mean, we've been using Zoom for a long time, and the things that people are talking, like, sure, there's malware sites that are taking advantage of the popularity of Zoom, and Zoom also has a free component to it where, you know, you sign up, the terms and conditions are that they're going to sell your data, and none of this has changed. It's not new, and so but there's a lot of fear and uncertainty and you know, excitement kind of built up around the insecurities of these protocols and people kind of getting on board with it. And I don't really buy it. I mean, you think about your phone. You know, you've had a phone for forever, and that number used to be published in the phone book. Well, you could go in the phone book and find the number and call somebody and make a crank call. And it's really, you know, in this day and age, it's not that different that, you know, having a Zoom ID, spin it up, and if you publish that number somewhere, you might get crank callers dropping in on you. And frankly, it's kind of funny. Like, you see these, I have a juvenile sense of humor. And so I'll watch, you know, YouTube channels like Nelk, where they like prank people and stuff and so these guys are not able to go out of their houses either. So what do you think they're using to prank people? They're finding people's Zoom rooms and jumping in and acting like a nuisance. And, you know, frankly, I mean, I think it's kind of funny, but people are all up in arms saying that that's a big security risk. And I just, you know, I just don't buy all of the fear and uncertainty around, you know, these tools.
Yeah, I tend to agree a little bit. I think for my church, Bill Church, the federal CTO had published that in our patch, right? Federal side, there are concerns about that, the three-letter agencies, et cetera, because apparently there's some kind of rumor, or maybe it's not a rumor, right? That Zoom has access and can listen in on a chat or a video session. So the federal agencies are a little leery now. Some are actually banning Zoom now, from what I've heard, or are planning to ban it because of that. So it's interesting. Yeah.
So there's just an article published very recently on the Hacker News about how you can scan for Zoom broadcasts without passwords as well too. So like, it's all out there, like everything. But I was really mostly thinking too, is like, that's kind of closing thing, is like, what is the advice in this time for like internet hygiene that you'd give to like your mom and dad?
So for my mom and dad, I would make sure that if they're on a Windows machine, which they probably are, they're probably not on a Mac. They're probably on a Windows machine that they got at Best Buy from, you know, the Best Buy slogan, right? So no lie, they still go in there. My son actually works at Best Buy. He deals with them all the time. So yeah, so have your Geek Squad guy, or, you know, if I'm the free tech support, which I used to be quite often until I I started denying free tech support. And like, oh yeah, he works in IT, so he can fix all my computer problems. So I'm sure we've all dealt with that, right? So, making sure that you've got a good antivirus, that you have all your firewall settings set. Microsoft Windows now comes with a pretty robust security suite built in, right? So you get some antivirus, I believe, on there. You get some security lockdowns. And I'm not on a Windows machine all the time. Very rarely do I spin up my own machine. I'm usually on a MacBook. But those controls that come built in with Windows are pretty robust. And then just do some education around, okay, don't open up that email from the prince from Saudi Arabia or whatever, saying that you have this inheritance, right? So just some education around that, making sure they're not clicking on random links, and making sure that they fully understand where they're getting their mail from and their email and who those senders are. So
kind of the funny thing is, I did have one customer say that they would prefer not to use Zoom because of all of the hype around security vulnerabilities. And so I was like, sure, no problem. What tool do you want to use? And he was like, oh, well, we use Microsoft Teams. It's like, when did Microsoft become like the most important security player?
Yeah.
Thank you, CDC.
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, if a hacker has enough resources, state-sponsored hackers, right? They have all the resources. They want to get in. They're going to get in. That's my
for sure.
Things. You can't stop it. Playing defense, you're not in the advantage. You don't have the upper seat. So if you're playing offense, you can pick and choose where you want to go. So it's tough out there for security people.
Yeah. I guess we should start wrapping it up, but thanks for joining us, Arnulfo. It was a real pleasure watching your video and seeing the skills you have, and I hope to see that you keep developing them, and maybe we'll talk here again at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, no, the video's new. Thanks for joining. Awesome to meet you. I'll post your original link and then the Dev Central ones as well, so people can check them out as well. Okay. We'll do one thing before we go to. We'll just do the sign-off smile. So I'll have some nice image to post this all in. So you got to smile nice for the 1, 2, 3. There you go. So we don't look completely like having that weird face, because I did that to Robin a couple times already. So anyways, yeah, awesome. Robin, anything else, buddy?
I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow on Boo's Crew.
We're also going to do a live session with Boo just before that. So I think at 4:30 EST.
Yep, right before his Friday Cheers meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you been on Boo's Friday call? Or he actually has it daily, but Fridays it's a nice build up to the end of the week.
I haven't. Because I think he's at 2:30 Pacific. I'm usually at 5:30 Eastern for me. I'm usually doing stuff, helping out my wife. We have two dogs who are having all sorts of health problems. So, my kids are grown now, but now it's our dogs that we have to tend to. So usually around that time, I'm doing things with her, but I'm going to try and make it tomorrow. I see them all the time on LinkedIn. And
just drop in.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're trying to make the Friday one too with a beer. So,
all right. Yeah, I'm all about that. So,
all right, we'll talk to you guys later.
All right, guys. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Bye.